Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm here to talk about my senior project. So for my senior project, I decided to write a children's book because in the future I do want to write a book. I just haven't figured out what yet, and I thought that this experience would be good for me. The name of my book is Ben's Friend Max. So Ben's friend Max is about two boys who are friends. So there's Ben and there's Max. Max is not always nice, he hasn't always been the best of friends, and he has a hard time at home. So does Ben. Ben, however, lives with his grandparents and he is very happy there. So I decided that I wanted to incorporate bullying into this book, and I wanted to make sure that we included ways to be against bullying, but also be against, be for self-defense in case of a physical altercation. Even though they are kids, sometimes they do have to deal with that kind of stuff. So brainstorming. Honestly, this book wasn't hard for me to come up with. I love karate. I've been doing it for 10 years. I love to read, and I want to write a book, and then I also hate bullying. So for me, this book was fairly simple to come up with. So my research, I researched 3 main questions, and the first one I came up with was what makes a good children's book. And what I found was that it needs to be intriguing, it needs to have a main character that the kids can relate to, and it should be something that they can enjoy. The second one I researched was what kinds of bullying do kids from ages 4 to 6 have to deal with. A lot of it was just people like feeling left out or not being included, playing with toys being taken away from them, or stuff like that. Of course, there are like the usual like pushing, shovings, sometimes hitting, some stuff like that. And the third one I did was what it requires to publish a book. I thought that this was something that was very important for me to research, especially since I do want to publish a book in the future. And so I researched what it takes. And so it requires a lot of time. You need to know your audience, you need to know what message you want to convey, and you need to know how to get it there. And then you also need a book agent, and you need a publisher. And if you want an editor, sometimes people just edit it themselves, but I would probably get an editor. So basically, my conclusions is basically everything I've already said. It needs to be age appropriate, it needs to be engaging, and it's going to take a lot of time. So first I began by brainstorming, deciding what I wanted my storyline to be, deciding where I wanted to go, who my main characters were, and all of the things like that. And then I started writing my book. I wrote out the storyline. So basically I wrote every page down, and I also wrote down like what pictures I wanted to go with that. Once I had that complete, I ended up doing the drawings myself. I originally wanted to find somebody else to draw them because I'm not a good artist, but I unfortunately couldn't find anyone who wasn't already doing their own senior project, and I didn't want to have to give them mine on top of their own. So I ended up drawing stick figures, but since it is a children's book, I feel like stick figures you can usually get away with. I know I've read books that have been drawings with stick figures, and I actually really enjoyed them, so I thought that it would be just fine. So the formatting was a huge issue for me. I wanted to type it all up and make it look nice and pretty. And so when I was typing it, I went through so many pieces of paper trying to print it off and get it what I needed to. It took forever to figure out which page went next to which on which document and how to get it so that it was one page on the front, one page on the back, and stuff like that. But once we got there, I was really happy and I was so proud of myself. So the finishing touches, in the end, I did end up going back through my drawings and my artistry and stuff like that, and I was a little bit bored. So I added this little car, this little truck that Ben and Max play with, and I had them, I gave the truck a little like personality kind of. I gave him little smiley faces depending on what was going on in the storyline. And I thought that would be something really fun that if the kids noticed it, then they would really enjoy it. Or the parents might even enjoy it, just watching the little truck do whatever he was doing. So what would I change? So if I chose to write a children's book in the future, I would definitely get an editor. I would definitely get somebody to draw the pictures, and I would probably just take more time than I had on it. I had plenty of time to do it, but I feel like if I had more time, then it would be even better. And I would also get somebody to help me learn how to shorten down my ideas, because I found out as I was writing that a lot of my ideas were way too long for the book, for a children's book. And then what did I learn from this? So I learned that I would like to write a book in the future, but the one thing I wouldn't write is probably a children's book, because like I said, I have too many ideas, too many thoughts in my head. Doing it in a children's book is just too short for me. I would definitely do it, write a chapter book probably for a young adult or teenagers. And yeah, that's probably the main things that I would do. So overall, I really did enjoy writing this. I enjoyed giving the little truck his own little personality, and I enjoyed drawing the pictures. I really liked being able to channel my inner child again, and I really enjoyed being able to think of my younger cousins or my future kids being able to read this story. And yeah, that's basically what I have for you. So thank you for listening to my presentation.